Hello everyone. So in this video I'm going to discuss kinetic theory of gases and we'll see all problem types which can be asked in JEE Mains 2025. So if you watch this video till end, you'll be able to answer one question which comes from this chapter. And it's going to be a revision video, so I'm not going to derive any formula, but we'll see the application of the concept. Now let us see the syllabus for this chapter. So first there will be an ideal gas equation, then work done on compressing a gas, kinetic theory of gases. So this work done part will study in thermodynamics, and assumptions, the concept of pressure, the kinetic interpretation of the temperature, like what is the formula of kinetic energy, the RMS speed of the gas molecule, and then the degree of freedom concept, law of equipartition of energy, and then the application to specific heat capacity of gas. So this specific heat capacity I will discuss in thermodynamics one shot, mean free path, and Avogadro number. Now let us see the different concept and problem type which can be formed from this chapter. Now let us see what are the assumptions in kinetic theory of gases. Again, these assumptions are important because there can be a question, theoretical question from these assumptions. So first, the gas molecules are identical sphere, elastic hard spheres, and all collisions are elastic. Okay, so it means if the collisions are elastic, there will be no loss of energy. Next, the volume of the molecule is negligible as compared to the volume of the gas. So what does it mean? The distance between two molecules is quite large in comparison to the size of the molecule. So we can say the volume of the gas is nothing but the volume of the container, right? Third assumption is that all molecules are moving randomly. So what does it mean? If they are moving randomly, so if I take the vector addition of velocity of all molecules enclosed in the vessel, that vector addition comes out to be a null vector. So we can say summation of Vi vector will be 0. So we have to remember this. If vector addition is 0 and if each molecule has a mass m, then we can say m times summation of Vi vector will be 0. So we can say the momentum will be 0. Do remember this point, right? So the momentum is a vector quantity. So vector addition of momentums of all molecules will be 0. Next, molecules don't exert force on one another except during collision, and the time of collision is very small. So if the molecules are not exerting force on one another and they exert force only when they are colliding, what we can say, there is no potential energy. So from this point we can say there will be no potential energy associated with the molecule. So the only energy they will be having will be translational kinetic energy, right? So next, the path travels between the successive collision is called free path. So suppose there is a molecule, it is moving in this direction, here it suffers a collision, and then it moves in this direction, here it will suffer another collision, it moves in this direction. So this distance, say lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3, these distances are known as free path. Okay, and the motion of the molecule is governed by Newton's law. So we can apply Newton's law for the molecule. Suppose if the molecule is colliding with the wall, suppose this is the wall, right? And there is a molecule which is colliding, that is its velocity is v and mass is m. So what is the change in momentum? Suppose it's an elastic collision. So we know that the change in momentum will be 2mv, right? In magnitude. So the change in momentum will be 2mv. So we can apply Newton's laws to understand the motion of the particles or motion of the molecules in the enclosed vessel. And the last assumption is we have to ignore gravity effect. If the gravity effect is ignored, we can assume density to be constant throughout the vessel, right? So I hope these assumptions are clear. Now let us see what type of question can be asked from these assumptions. Now let us see this question. It was asked in 2021. On the basis of kinetic theory of gases, the gas exerts pressure because its molecule. So let us see the option. Option 1 is continuously lose their energy till it reaches a wall. Second option, are attracted by the wall of the container. Third option is continuously stick to the walls of the container. Fourth, suffers change in momentum when impinge on the walls of the container. So whenever I flash a question, you have to pause the video, try to solve the question on your own. If you are not able to solve the question, then unpause the video and let us do it together. Now, in this case, if you look at the first option, it says continuously lose their energy. And we know that all collisions are elastic in nature. If those are elastic, there will be no loss of energy. So option 1 is incorrect. Second option, are attracted by the walls of the container. I told you there will be no potential energy associated. If it is attracted by the walls of the container, there will be, you can say, the interaction between the molecule and the wall, and the collision will not be elastic. So option 2 is again incorrect. Now the third option, continuously stick to the walls of the container. If it continuously sticks to the wall, the collision will be perfectly inelastic, but we know that the collision is elastic. So option 3 is incorrect. Now fourth option, suffers change in momentum when impinge on the walls of the container. Obviously, when the molecule collide elastically with the wall, there will be a change in momentum of the molecule. If this is the wall, this is the molecule, it is coming like this, it will go in this particular direction like this. So there is a change in momentum. Earlier it was in this direction, now the momentum is in this direction. So it is a pretty easy question. So option 4 is the right answer. And let me tell you one more thing. Whatever question you will find in exam from this chapter, those questions will be quite easy. So I would say 95% of the questions I have seen in the PYQs are of easy nature. So do watch this one shot till very end. You'll be able to master all the concepts. Okay, right. So now let us see some important formulas. So let us see what is the pressure. Suppose if there is a vessel and it enclosed some gas, right? Now what is the pressure exerted by the molecules of this gas on the wall, right? So that pressure will be given by this formula, where rho is the density of the gas and Vrms is the RMS speed. Now what is RMS speed? Now if I have, say, n molecules and say Vi is the velocity of ith molecule, so we can say Vrms is root mean squared speed. So it will be, first you have to square the velocities of all the molecules and take the mean of them, and then take the square root. So V1 square plus V2 square up to Vn square, take the mean and then take the square root. Now this is known as root mean squared speed. And from this formula, Vrms comes out to be root of 3p by rho. And by ideal gas equation, you must have seen this formula, PV is equals to nRT. And we can modify this and we can write this as P m naught is equals to rho RT. Now from this equation, where m naught is the molar mass of the gas, so P by rho can be written as RT by m naught. Now we can substitute this, we can substitute P by rho in terms of RT by m naught, and we will get this formula. So root of 3 RT by m naught. Now we know that molar mass is nothing but mass of Avogadro's number of molecules. So let us say n naught is Avogadro number, which is 6.022 into 10 raised by 23. You must have studied in chemistry, times the mass of one molecule. So if I substitute m naught as n naught times m in this formula, what would happen? I will get root of 3 RT upon small m times n naught. Now this small m times n naught, this quantity is known as Boltzmann's constant, right? This is Kb. And we know what is the value of Kb. It is 1.38 into 10 raised per minus 23 in SI units. So I hope this formula is clear. Now let us see what type of question can be asked from these two formulas. Now let us the question based on the root mean squared speed. So if the root mean squared velocity of hydrogen molecule at a given temperature and pressure is 2 kilometers per second, the root mean squared velocity of oxygen at the same condition means same temperature and pressure, and we have to find the answer in kilometers per second. So we know the formula of root mean squared RMS speed. It is nothing but a root of 3 RT by m naught, where m naught is the molar mass, and we have to find the RMS speed for the oxygen molecule at the same condition. So we can say Vrms for a given temperature is inversely proportional to square root of the molar mass. So we can say V2 by V1 will be equals to square root of m1 by m2. So we can apply this proportionality
So this 2 corresponds to oxygen and 1 corresponds to hydrogen. So let us put the value. So V2 by V1 will be equals to root of M1. So M1 for hydrogen, the molar mass is 2 grams, and for oxygen, the molar mass is 32 grams. So this comes out to be 1 by 4. So V2 is 2 by 4 kilometers per second. So this comes out to be 0.5 kilometers per second. So option 2, option 1, sorry, this will be option 2 will be the right answer. Now let us see one more concept, one more question based on the same concept. At what temperature the RMS velocity of hydrogen molecule equals to that of the oxygen molecule at 47 degrees? Right, again we have to use the formula. So Vrms is square root of 3 RT by m naught. So here we have oxygen molecule. So the RMS speed of the oxygen molecule is equals to the RMS speed of oxygen at 47. So we can say VH2, which is root of say 3 RT divided by 2 times 10 raised per minus 3 kilograms. That is the molar mass of hydrogen molecule. And the RMS velocity for oxygen will be root of 3 T. T is given as 47 degree, which is nothing but 320 Kelvin, divided by molar mass of oxygen molecule, which will be 32 into 10 raised per minus 3. And we have given these two RMS speeds are equal. So let us equate that. And this R, 3R upon 10 raised per minus 3 will get eliminated. So it will be root of 3RT upon 2 into 10 raised per minus 3 should be equals to root of 3R times 320 divided by 32 into 10 raised per minus 3. So 3R and this 10 raised per 3 can be eliminated, and we have to find the temperature. So T by 2, let us square on both sides. So T by 2 will be 320 divided by 32, so this will give us 10, so T comes out to be 20 Kelvin. So option 4 is the right answer. Now let us see this illustration. A sample contains mixture of helium and oxygen gas. The ratio of the RMS mean speed of helium and the oxygen in the sample. So we know that Vrms is root 3 RT by m naught, and since they are contained in the same vessel, they must be having the same temperature. So we can say RMS speed will be inversely proportional. So Vrms will be inversely proportional to the square root of molar mass. And so we have to find the ratio. So V for helium to V for oxygen will be root of molar mass for oxygen divided by molar mass for helium. Now molar mass for oxygen will be 32 grams and molar mass for helium will be 4 grams. Now this will give us 2, this will be 8, and square root of 8 is 2 root 2. So velocity of, so the ratio will be 2 root 2 by 1, right? 2 root 2 by 1. So option 2 is the right answer.
Now let us see this question. It was asked in 2023. The root mean squared velocity of a molecule of a gas. And we know that what is root mean squared velocity? So Vrms, its formula is root of 3RT by m naught, where m naught is molar mass, or we can also write this as root of 3kBt by small m. So can you see Vrms, it depends only on temperature for a given type of a gas. So we can, if you look at the option 1 states that, says that proportional to the square of the temperature. Option 1 is incorrect. Option 2 is also incorrect. Option 3 says proportional to the square root of the temperature. So we can clearly see that Vrms is directly proportional to square root of the temperature. So option 4 is again incorrect. It says that proportional to the temperature. So option 3 is the right answer. Now let us see another question. The root mean squared speed of a molecule of nitrogen gas at 27 degrees. So we have given mass of one molecule of nitrogen molecule, and we have given the value of Boltzmann constant. So we can use this formula, root of 3 kBt by small m, where kb is Boltzmann constant. So if we substitute the values, 3 times kb is 1.4 into 10 raised per minus 23, times the temperature. Temperature is 27. So whenever you have to put temperature in the formula, always convert temperature into Kelvins. So it will become 300, right? So to convert degrees Celsius into Kelvin, we have to add 273. So divided by 4.6 into 10 raised per minus 26. So when we simplify this, we will get around 523 meters per second. So I hope this concept is clear. A very straightforward questions will come from this chapter. Now let us see another question. Now, what will be the effect of the root mean squared velocity of oxygen molecules if the temperature is doubled and the oxygen molecule dissociates into atomic oxygen? So what is happening here? So we are doubling the temperature, so from T to 2T, and a diatomic oxygen is split up into atomic oxygen. So earlier, if the mass is 2m, then this mass will become m, right? And what is root mean squared velocity? Vrms is root of 3 kBt divided by m, right? So this is Vrms, where m is the mass of one molecule and T is the temperature of the gas. So what we can say, this temperature is getting doubled and this number is getting half, right? So it is getting half, it is getting double. So can you see there will be a factor of 4 in the square root. So we can say the new RMS velocity will be 2 times the original RMS velocity. So the velocity of the atomic oxygen will double. So option B is the right answer. Again, formula based question. Now let us see this question. Now pause the video, try to solve this question on your own. So given below are two statements. Statement 1, the average momentum of the molecule in a sample of an ideal gas depends on temperature. I told you that molecules are moving randomly in all direction. If they are moving randomly, then if I vector, if I do the vector addition of velocity of all molecules, that vector addition will be a null vector. So the momentum will be 0. It will always 0, irrespective of the temperature. So option 1 is, statement 1 is incorrect. Now statement 2 states that the RMS speed of the oxygen molecule in a gas is V if the temperature is doubled and the oxygen molecule dissociate into oxygen atoms, the RMS speed will become 2V. Now that is the same statement that we have done in the last question, and we know that it is correct. The RMS velocity will become 2 times. So this is correct. So we can clearly see that option D is the right answer. Statement 1 is false, but statement 2 is true. Again, very easy question. Now let us see this question. The root mean squared speed of a smoke particle of mass 5 into 10 raised per minus 17 kilogram in their Brownian motion in air at NTP is approximately. Now, what is a Brownian motion? It is just like a random motion that we are talking about gas molecules. It is the similar motion. So if it is random motion, we can again apply the same formula, that is Vrms will be equals to root of 3 kBt by small m. Now, for normal temperature and pressure, the temperature will be around 293, right? 293 Kelvin, around 20 degrees Celsius. So this is the temperature at NTP, and mass is given as 5 into 10 raised per minus 17. So we can write this as root of 3 into 1.38 into 10 raised per minus 23. Temperature is 293 divided by mass, which is 5 into 10 raised per minus 17. Now, if you look at the options are quite far apart. Only option B and C are quite close to each other. Rest of the remaining two options are quite far apart. Let us see. So we can use some approximation. So 3 times 1.38. So this value will be greater than 4, we can say, right? It will be greater than 4. Let me show you how to apply approximation. So this quantity will be greater than 4. And if I divide 293 with 5, so it will be close to, you can say, 60, right? Now this 60 multiplied with this 4 will be around 240. So we can say it is around 250, right? Clear? Because it is greater than 4. Multiplied with 10 raised to power minus 23 plus 17, so minus 6. Now if I take the root of this, so 250, it is quite close to 256. So we can say it will be close to 16, right? So around 16 or less than 16 times 10 raised to power minus 3 meter per second. So it will be 16 millimeter per second. Now if you look at the option C is the closest to our answer. So like this, we can apply some approximation exam only if the options are quite far apart. So option 3 is the right answer. Now let us see another question. So consider a mixture of gas molecule of types A, B and C having masses. So this is the increasing order of masses. A is less than B is less than C. The ratio of their root mean squared speeds at normal temperature and pressure. Very straightforward question. Pause the video, try to solve this question. We know that Vrms for is given by this formula root of 3 kBT by m. Now in this case, the temperature is same for all the three gases, or you can say we have a mixture, right? We have a mixture. So if we have a mixture, the temperature will be same for all the gases. So temperature is same, 3 kb is also same. So we can say Vrms is inversely proportional to square root of the mass of molecule. Now we have different masses. So we can say, so V is inversely proportional to square root of mass. So RMS velocities are not equal, right? They will be different. And we can say 1 by, okay, right. So we have MA is less than MB is less than MC. So we can say the square root of MA will be less than square root of MB will be less than square root of MC. And if I take this, the reciprocals of this, the inequality sign will reverse. So 1 upon root MA is greater than 1 upon root MB is greater than 1 upon root MC. And we know that velocity, RMS velocity is proportional to 1 upon root M. So we can say VA will be, or you can say VA will be greater than VB will be greater than VC. Or from this relation, we can say 1 by VA will be less than 1 by VB will be less than 1 by VC. So option 4 is the right answer. Okay, so I think you'll be able to understand how to solve such questions. Now let us see another question. The root mean squared speed of the molecule of a given mass of gas at 27 degrees Celsius and 1 atmosphere and pressure is 200 meters per second. The root mean squared speed of the molecule of the gas at 127 degrees Celsius and 2 atmosphere pressure is x by root 3 meters per second, the value of x. Now here a pressure is also given to us. And we know that Vrms, we know two formulas. One is 3p by rho, another is root of 3 RT by m naught, right? Now, what would happen if you increase the pressure? As the pressure is increased, the density will also increase, right? So if we use pressure, we can, but we do not know what is the density. So it is always recommended, if the temperature is given, use this formula, right? Temperature formula. So the temperature is increasing from 27 degrees Celsius to 127 degrees Celsius. So we can say the initial temperature is 27 plus 273. So it will be 300 Kelvin. And the new temperature is 127 plus 273, which is 400 Kelvin. Right? So we are not changing the gas. So if the gas is not getting changed, the molar mass will remain same. So we can say V is directly proportional to square root of the temperature. So we can use this proportionality. So V2 by V1 is nothing but square root of T2 by T1. Now let us substitute the values. So T2 is 400, T1 is 300. So V2 comes out to be, V1 is, we have given 200. So 200 times 4 by 3, or we can say it will be 400 by root 3. So the answer will be 400, right? I hope this question is clear to you. Now let us see the new concept, that is the kinetic energy of the gas. Now, when we have a vessel and in that vessel we have a monatomic gas like helium, argon, then the kinetic energy will be given by 3 by 2 nRT, where n is the number of moles, r is gas constant, and T is the temperature. So R value is 8.314, and it is also, we can also write this as 25 by 3 for easy calculation. And there is one more thing which is known as the average kinetic energy. So kinetic energy of the gas is the kinetic energy of the entire gas. And average means if you're talking about of one molecule. So the kinetic energy of one molecule on an average will be 3 by 2 kBT. Right. Now, sometimes if I talk about average kinetic energy, whether the gas is monatomic or diatomic or triatomic, at low temperature, its kinetic energy, average kinetic energy will remain same. For example, if I have a, say, oxygen at 30 degrees Celsius or helium at 30 degrees Celsius, the average kinetic energy will be given by 3 by 2 kBT. The temperature, it will only depends upon the temperature. So as we change the temperature, the average kinetic energy will change. So that thing you have to keep in your mind. Now let us see the type of question which will come from these two formulas.
Now let us see the illustration based on the kinetic energy of a gas. The average kinetic energy of a monatomic molecule is 0.414 electron volt at temperature. So we have to find the temperature at which the kinetic energy is 0.414 electron volt. So we know that 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 joules. So, and kinetic energy for a monatomic gas, average kinetic energy is given as 3 by 2 kT, where kBT, where kBT is the Boltzmann constant. So kinetic energy will be 0.414 into 10 raised to power minus 19 times 1.6 equals to 3 by 2, and kB is 1.38 into 10 raised to power minus 23, and we have to find the temperature. Okay, so if I remove this decimal, so that will be 10 raised to power 3. If I remove this decimal, it will be 10 raised to power 2, and 138 times 3 is 414, so that will be 3. Now this 3 will get eliminated, and we have 1.6, so this can be written as 3.2 into 10 raised to power minus 19 minus 3 plus 2 plus 23, so that will be T. So we have 25 minus 22, so that will be 3, so it will be 3200 Kelvin. So option 2 is the right answer. Let us see this illustration. Energy of 10 non-rigid diatomic molecules at temperature T. So we have to find the energy, and there are 10 non-rigid diatomic molecules. So for one diatomic molecule, so first of all we should know what is the degree of freedom of non-rigid diatomic molecule. So non-rigid diatomic. So non-rigid diatomic will be having 3 translational degree of freedom. It will be having 2 vibrational degree of freedom, and it will be having 2 rotational degree of freedom. So it comes out to be 7. So we can say the degree of freedom for this molecule will be 7, and we have 10 molecules, so we can say 10 times F by 2 kBT. So that will be the formula for the kinetic energy, average kinetic energy, or not average, total kinetic energy for 10 molecules. So it comes out to be 5 times 7 times kBT, so which is 35 kBT. So option 2 is the right answer. Now let us see this question. The parameter that remains the same for molecule of all gases at the given temperature. So kinetic energy doesn't change, it depends upon the temperature, so kinetic energy will remain same. Let us see this question. The temperature of a gas is minus 78 degrees and the average translational kinetic energy of the molecule is K. The temperature at which the average translational kinetic energy of the molecules of the gas, same gas, becomes 2K. Right, so average translational kinetic energy, so we can say it will be 3 by 2 kBT is the value of the average kinetic energy, and this T can be written as, so if I'm considering a monatomic, then I can take it as 3, right? So temperature is minus 78, so it will be minus 78 plus 273 in Kelvin. So this comes out to be 195 Kelvin. So times 195 Kelvin. Now we have to find the value of temperature when this kinetic energy becomes double, right? So we know that kinetic energy is directly proportional to the temperature. So if we double the kinetic energy, temperature has to be doubled. So if it is 195, it will become 195 times 2, which is 390 Kelvin. Now 390, if I want to convert 390 into degree Celsius, you have to subtract 273 from this. So 390 minus 273, so that comes out to be 117 degrees Celsius. So option 2 is the right answer. Now let us see this question. The total kinetic energy of 1 mole of oxygen at 27 degrees Celsius, where R is 8.31 joules per mole Kelvin. So total kinetic energy is given as F by 2 nRT, where F is the degree of freedom, S is the number of mole, R is the gas constant, and T is the temperature. Now F for a oxygen molecule. So here I'm assuming rigid diatomic molecule. For rigid diatomic molecule, value of F is 5. This will be 5 by 2. Number of moles is given as 1. R is given as 8.31. And temperature is 27 degrees Celsius, which is 300 Kelvin. So if you simplify this, it comes out to be 4.155, and this will be 15 times 4, correct, 415.5 times 15. So it comes out to be nearly 6,000 something. So option 3 is the right answer.
The temperature at which the kinetic energy of the oxygen molecules becomes double than its value at 27 degrees Celsius. So we know that kinetic energy of a gas is proportional to the temperature, right? It is proportional to the temperature. Now, so as the now we want to like kinetic energy of the oxygen molecule becomes double. So we want to double the kinetic energy. In order to double the kinetic energy, we have to double the temperature, right? Because it is directly proportional to the temperature. So the initial temperature is given as 27 plus 273. So that is 300 Kelvin. So the new temperature will be 2 times the temperature 1. So it will be 600 Kelvin. Now the options are given in degrees Celsius. So in order to convert Kelvin into degrees Celsius, we have to subtract 273. So T2 will be 600 minus 273. So it will be 327 degree Celsius. So option 3 is the right answer. So I hope this concept is clear. Right. Now, a flask contains argon and oxygen in the ratio, like in 3:2 in mass, and the mixture is kept at 27 degrees Celsius. The ratio of their average kinetic energy per molecule. So I told you like the kinetic energy, average kinetic energy does not depend upon mass. It only depends upon the temperature. Since both the gases have the same temperature, there will be no change in the average kinetic energy. So the answer will be 1:1. Very straightforward question. Now let us see another question which it was asked in 2023. A flask contains hydrogen and argon in 2:1 by mass. The temperature of the mixture is 30 degrees Celsius. The ratio of average kinetic energy per molecule of the two gases. Again, same question. It will not depend upon the masses of the gases. So again, the answer is 1. Now let us see another question. What will be the average value of energy for a monatomic gas in thermal equilibrium at temperature T? So they are talking about average value of energy for a monatomic gas. So basically they are talking about average kinetic energy. So average kinetic energy will be 3/2 kBT. So that is the straightforward like formula that we have studied. So option 3 is the right answer. Now the average kinetic energy of the molecule of gas is Yes, so we know that it depends only on the temperature, proportional to the absolute temperature, right? Okay, so I hope this concept is clear. Now let us move to the another concept, that is the ideal gas. Now what are ideal gases? First, they follow gas laws at every possible temperature and pressure, right? And the volume of gas is nothing but the volume of the container. I told you, like, the molecule volume is very small as compared to the volume of the container, so we can say volume of the gas will be same as the volume of the container. There is no interaction between the gas molecules. If there is no interaction, there will be no potential energy, so the potential energy of the system will be zero of gas molecules, right? So and the internal energy is the kinetic energy, because potential energy is zero, so the total energy possessed by the molecule will be the kinetic energy. So that's why internal energy is nothing but the kinetic energy, and the internal energy depends only on temperature, and we know that kinetic energy depends upon temperature, so the internal energy will also depend upon the temperature. Now let us see the different gas laws that we have to remember. First is Boyle's law. In Boyle's law, for a given mass of the gas, and for constant temperature, pressure is inversely proportional to the volume. So that you should remember, so that we can apply P1 V1 equals to P2 V2. Now let us see Charles law. So Charles law, for a constant pressure for a given amount of gas, volume is directly proportional to the temperature. So we can apply V1 by T1 is equals to V2 by T2. Right. So let us see the next law, that is Gay-Lussac's law. So for a constant volume, pressure is directly proportional to the temperature. So P1 by T1 is equals to P2 by T2. Next is Avogadro's law. So according to this law, the volume is directly proportional to the number of moles for a given pressure and temperature. So V1 by N1 is equals to V2 by N2. Now let us see another law, that is Dalton's law of partial pressure. So what is Dalton's law? Suppose if there is a container, and in this container we have two different types of gases. So let us say this is, say, gas 1, and let us say there is another gas, this is gas 2. Now it has a certain temperature, right? So according to Dalton's law, if P is the pressure of both the gases, it will be nothing but the summation of the individual pressures. So if suppose if gas 1 is not there, only gas 2 is there, then the pressure exerted by the gas 1 will be the pressure. If gas, say only gas 2 is there, then the pressure exerted by the gas 2 is P2. So these are the pressures when the other gases are not present. So we have to simply add up the pressures. So this is the Dalton's law of partial pressure. Next is Graham's law of diffusion. Again, I haven't seen any question from this law, but you should remember the rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to square root of the molar mass. And what is diffusion? Suppose if we have a gas which is enclosed, say, air. So there is a gas, and here there is a, let us say, a valve, right? So if I open this valve, then what would happen? The gas will try to move to this compartment. So gas with lighter molecules will diffuse faster in comparison to the gas with heavier molecules. So this is the law, right? This is the Graham's law of diffusion. Just remember this. Rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to square root of the molar mass.
Let us see the next question based on the ideal gas law. Two vessels A and B of same size and have the same temperature. A contains 1 gram of hydrogen, B contains 1 gram of oxygen. P and PB are the pressure of the gas in vessel A and B. Then we have to find the ratio of pressure. Right, so from ideal gas equation we can say P will be nRT by V, where N can be written as mass of the gas divided by the molar mass. So for a given, for the same volume and for the same temperature, we can say, and for the same amount of substance, pressure will be inversely proportional to the molar mass. So we can say Pa upon Pb, and in A we have hydrogen, right? So that will be molar mass of oxygen upon molar mass of hydrogen. So this is 32 grams, and for hydrogen it will be 2. So this comes out to be 16. So the ratio will be 16. So option 1 is the right answer. Now let us see this question. The temperature of gas having 2 into 10 raised to power 25 molecules per cubic meter. So that is number of molecules divided by the volume or number density is 1.38 atmosphere, where K is the Boltzmann constant. So we have to find the temperature. So we know that P can be written as number of molecules divided by V times KBT, right? That is the ideal gas equation. Now this N by V is nothing but the number density, or which is given in the question, 2 into 10 raised to power 23. So let us plug in the value. So 1.3 atmosphere can be written as 1.38 into 10 raised to power 5 Pascal. So it will be 1.38 into 10 raised to power 5. Number density is given as 2 into 10 raised to power 25. Boltzmann constant is 1.38 into 10 raised to power minus 23, and we have to find the temperature. So this 1.38 will get eliminated, and then we have 2. So this will be 0.5 into 10 raised to power 5 minus 25 plus 23. So it will be 28 minus 23. So this comes out to be 500 Kelvin. So option 1 is the right answer.
Right. So in 2022, this question was asked: when a gas filled in a closed vessel is heated by raising the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, its pressure increases by 0.4%. The initial temperature of the gas is we have to find the initial temperature in Kelvin. Now pause the video and try to solve this question. So we know that the ideal gas equation is PV is equals to nRT, right? And here we are increasing the pressure. So pressure is changing. Volume, it's a closed vessel, so volume is constant. Number of mole is constant. R is constant. So we can say P is directly proportional to the temperature. Is it clear? P is directly proportional to temperature. So, and we have given the increase in percentage increase in the pressure. So we can say delta P by P times 100 is 0.4. So from this proportionality, I can say the change in pressure will be directly proportional to the change in temperature. Now this is the first equation, this is the second equation. So if I divide second equation by the first equation, we will get delta P by P is equals to delta T by T, right? So if I multiply both sides with 100, left hand side is nothing but 0.4 times delta T. Delta T, and we have raised the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So this will be nothing but 1 divided by T times 100. Now from this equation, we can say T will be 100 divided by 0.4. So that will be 250 Kelvin, right? So the answer will be 250 Kelvin. So I hope the concept is clear. Now let us see the another question. So in this question, we have given a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen has volume 2000 centimeter cube, temperature is 300 Kelvin, pressure is 100 kilopascal, and mass, so this is the combined mass of hydrogen and oxygen, 0.76 grams, and the ratio of number of moles of hydrogen to the number of moles of oxygen in the mixture will be. Okay, right. So we have to find N1 by N2, where N1 is the moles of hydrogen and N2 is the moles of oxygen. And we know that in terms of masses, so we can write N1 as mass of hydrogen divided by the molar mass, that will be 2, divided by mass of oxygen divided by molar mass, that will be 32. So this comes out to be M1 by M2 times 16. So we need to find the ratio of masses. So let us find that. So if I apply ideal gas equation in this question, so we know that PV is equals to nRT. Now this N will be sum of the moles of hydrogen and oxygen. So we can write N1 as M1 by 2 plus M2 by 32. R for simple calculation, I can put R as 25 by 3. Temperature is given as 300 Kelvin. Pressure is 100 kilopascal. So we can say it is 10 raised per 5 Pascal. And the volume is 2000 centimeter cube. So to convert centimeter cube into meter cube, we have to multiply with 10 raised per minus 6. So it will become 2 times 10 raised per minus 3. I hope it is clear. So left hand side will become 2 times 10 raised per 2, and the right hand side in the denominator will be having 32, so it will be 16 m1 plus m2, and this will be 100, so we'll get 2500 here. So this 100 will get eliminated. So we have, so this can be further written as 2 times 32 divided by 25, which is equals to 16 m1 plus m2. Now if I multiply this with 4 and this with 4, I will get, it will be 8, 16, 256 by 100, 16 m1 plus m2. So this will be 2.56 equals to 16 m1 plus m2. Now we know a relation between m1 and m2. So this is the first equation. And we have given one more thing in the question, that is 0.76. So we can write this as 0.76 is equals to m1 plus m2. Now that now if I multiply this equation or if I simply subtract these two equations, so this is second equation. So if we subtract, we will get 15 m1 is equals to 2.56 minus 0.76. So this will be 0, this will be 7, 8, yeah, 1.8. 15 m1 is 1.8, so m1 will be 0.6 by 5, so which is 0.12 grams. So m1 is 0.12 grams and m2 will be 0.76 minus 0.12. So that will be 0.64. Now we have to find this value, m1 by m2 times 16. So this will be what? It will be 0.12 divided by 0.64 times 16. Now this decimal will get eliminated. So this will be 4. This will be 3. So this comes out to be 3. So the answer is option B. A slightly lengthy question, but easy question. I hope the concept is clear. Now let us move to the second question. Next question. So we have given a vessel contains 16 grams of hydrogen and 128 grams of oxygen at standard temperature and pressure. Now what is standard temperature? So standard temperature is 273 Kelvin and standard pressure is 1 atmosphere, or you can say 10 raised per 5 Pascal, approximate value, right? Now the volume of the vessel in centimeter cube. Now if you look at the options are quite far apart. So in such questions, we can use some approximation to come to the closest answer. So let us find the volume. So by ideal gas equation, nRT by P is the volume. So moles. So let us first calculate the moles. So it will be, we have given mass, right? So mass upon molar mass plus 128 divided by 32. So 32 is the molar mass of oxygen, 2 is the molar mass of hydrogen gas, times R. R is 25 by 3. Temperature is 273, right? 273 divided by pressure. Pressure is given as 10 raised per 5. Now let us simplify this. So this is 4, this is 8. So it is 12 times 25 by 3 times 273. So this will be 4 divided by 10 raised per 5. So it will be 27300 by 10 raised to power 5. So it will be 27.3 into 10 raised to power minus 27.3, 10 raised to power minus 2. It is in meter cube. Now we know that 1 meter cube is equivalent to 10 raised to power 6 centimeter cube. So 27.3 into 10 raised to power minus 2 multiplied with 10 raised to power 6 will get answer in meter cube. So it will be 27.3 into 10 raised to power 4 meter cube. So can you see option C is the closest answer, right? Now let us see the another question. It came in 2022. So pause the video, try to solve this question on your own, right? So same gas is filled in two vessels of the same volume at the same temperature. So temperature is same, volume is same. Now we have two vessels and the gas is also same. If the ratio of the number of molecules, the only thing which is different is number of molecules, and the number of molecules in the two vessel is 1:4. Then there are four statements. Statement A, the RMS velocity of gas molecules in two vessels will be same. Okay, right. So let us see what is RMS velocity. What is the formula? So VRMS, it is root of 3 kBT by M, where M depends upon the gas, T is the temperature, temperature is same. So in both the vessel, temperature is same gas is there, so M is same, so RMS velocity will be same. So RMS velocity of gas molecules in two vessels will be same. So A statement A is correct. The ratio of pressure in these vessels will be 1:4. Now what is pressure? So pressure will be N, or you can say N M in terms of, okay, let me first write it as PNRT by V. Now volume is same, R is same, temperature is same. So pressure is directly proportional to number of moles, and moles is nothing but mass upon molar mass. So can you see this factor? This factor is same for both the vessels. So we can say pressure is directly proportional to the mass, directly proportional to the mass. So, and we know that the number number of ratio of number of molecule is 1:4. So mass so it is directly proportional to mass, and mass can also be written in terms of number of molecules. So P is directly proportional to. So this is the mass of the gas, or we can say it will be number of molecule times mass of one molecule, right? Mass of one molecule. So M naught is the mass of one molecule. So we can say P is directly proportional to number of molecules. So if it is directly proportional to number of molecules, then option B, the statement B is again correct, because it is directly proportional to capital N, where N is the number of molecules. C, the ratio of pressure will be same, that is incorrect. The RMS velocity of the gas molecule in the two vessel will be in the ratio. This is again incorrect. So option A, B is the right answer. So option C is the right answer. So I hope this question is clear to you. Now let us see another question. It came in 2021. Again, pause the video, try to solve this on your own. The volume V of an enclosure contains a mixture of three gases. Oxygen is there, nitrogen is there, carbon dioxide is there, and we have given also the masses at absolute temperature T. Consider R as the universal gas constant, the pressure of the mixture of the gas. Okay, so let us find out the number of moles of, right? So moles of oxygen will be 16 by 32, and number of moles of nitrogen will be 28 by 28, and number of moles of carbon dioxide will be 44 by 44, right? 44 is the molar mass of carbon dioxide. Now it comes out to be how much? So it will be 0.5, 1 plus 1, so it will be 2.5. Now let us apply ideal gas equation, and we have to find the pressure. So pressure will be nRT by V. So N is 2.5 RT by V. So 5 by 2 times RT by V. So option 3 is the right answer. Now let us see another question. A bicycle tire is filled with air having pressure of 270 kilopascal at 27 degrees Celsius. The approximate pressure of the air in the tire when the temperature increases to 36 degrees Celsius. Right, so pressure and temperature is given, and now we have increased the temperature, we have to find the pressure. Now nothing is given about the volume of the tire. So here in this question we'll assume that the volume will remain same. If volume is same, we can say pressure is directly proportional to the temperature. So we can say P2 by P1 is equals to T2 by T1. So here P1 is 270 kilopascal, T1 is 227 degrees Celsius, T2 is 36 degrees Celsius. So T1 is 27 plus 273, so that will be 300 Kelvin, and T2 is 36 plus 273, which will be it will be 309 Kelvin. So P2 will be 270 times 309 divided by 300 kilopascal. So if we simplify this, this is 9, this is 10. So this will be 9 times. So let us find the approximate answer. So that will be 31. So it will be 273. So this will be 273. Sorry, 279, not 273, 279 kilopascal. So the closed answer is option 3. So option 3 is the right answer. Okay, Reds. Now let us see another question which came in 2021. It is again very easy question. So again pause the video, try to solve this question on your own. So which one of the following graph represents the behavior of an ideal gas? Symbols have their usual meaning. So P stands for pressure, V stands for volume, T stands for temperature. Now if I write ideal gas equation, so PV is equals to nRT. Now PV, here we have temperature. So on the y-axis, so this is y, T is x, and this nR is constant. And this nR is nothing but the slope. So can you see it's a straight line, and nR is a positive factor. So it will be a straight line passing through the origin. So on the y-axis we have PV, on the x-axis we have temperature. So this should be the graph. So you can clearly see that option 3 is the right answer. Can you see the questions, whatever questions we have discussed, those questions are quite easy. So you will get similar question in JEE 2024. Yeah. So now let us see the new concept, that is the degree of freedom. Now what is degree of freedom? So it is the minimum number of independent means by which a molecule can possess energy. So what do we mean by the different means? So let us see. Let us start with a monoatomic molecule. Now there is a monoatomic molecule which is at the origin. Now we can give kinetic energy. It can move in the x direction, right? So it has some kinetic energy in the x direction. So I can call it as half mv x square. Now this molecule can also move in along the y direction. So it can have a kinetic energy half mvy square. Now this molecule can also move in the z direction. So it can have a kinetic energy in the z direction, that is half mv z square. Right, so these are the 3 different ways we can give energy to this molecule. Now let us take a case. So we can say the monatomic molecule has 3 translational degree of freedom. So it has 3 translational degree of freedom, and degree of freedom is denoted with letter F. So this is 3 in case of monatomic molecule. Now if we have a point mass, its rotational kinetic energy will be 0, because the moment of inertia about an axis passing through the center of this point mass will be 0. So if there is a point mass, if there is an axis, if this molecule rotate about this axis with an angular velocity omega, its moment of inertia will be nearly 0. So there will be no rotational kinetic energy possessed by the monatomic gas molecule. Now let us see the case of diatomic molecule. Now in case of diatomic molecule, it can translate, this molecule can translate in the x direction, it can translate in the y direction, it can also translate in the z direction. And there is one more thing, it can also rotate about the z-axis. It is rotating about the z-axis. It can also rotate about the y-axis. Can you see? Rotating about the y-axis. But suppose if I want to rotate this molecule about the x-axis, in that case, if it rotates about the x-axis, both the masses lie on the x-axis, and since the size of the molecule is very small, we can say the moment of inertia about x-axis will be nearly zero. So the rotational kinetic energy possessed by the diatomic molecule about the x-axis will be zero. So what are the possible energies possessed by the diatomic molecule? It can translate in the x direction, so half vx square plus half vy square plus half vz square. Now this is known as translational degree of freedom, right? So there are three translational degree of freedom, and apart from this there are two rotational degree of freedom. So half I z omega z square plus half I y omega y square. Now this is rotational degree of freedom. So how many degree of freedom a diatomic molecule has? You can say 3 plus 2, 5. So 3 plus 2, which will be 5. Here I'm talking about rigid diatomic molecule, right? Rigid. Rigid means the distance between the center of the two atoms is not changing with time. So this is for rigid diatomic molecule, right? Now, what happens in case of if we have a non-rigid diatomic molecule? If there is a non-rigid diatomic molecule, in that case, the bond will be flexible. Now they can move left and right. So individual atoms, they can have a relative motion with respect to one another. So they can move like this. So it will be vibrating, right? So we can say they will also be having a vibrational degree of freedom. So here we have seen translational and rotational degree of freedom. Now when we have a two atoms bonded with a single bond, there will be two more degree of freedom. Just remember, you can visualize this as a two block and a spring arrangement. Now when we have two blocks in spring arrangement, they will be having kinetic energy and the potential energy of the spring, right? So so in this particular case, it will be having 3 plus 2 plus 2. Got it? So it will be 7. Now if we have a polyatomic molecule, polyatomic, non-linear, something like this, right? Which is non-linear. Now this molecule will be having 3 translational, 3 rotational degree of freedom. I am taking a case of rigid, right? Rigid. So 3 plus 3, 6. Now suppose if in the question they will give you that we have a polyatomic molecule, it's a non-linear and it is also vibrating, so the bonds are flexible. In that case, the vibrational mode will be given to you. Suppose if the vibrational mode is X, let me give you a case. So polyatomic, non-rigid, non-linear, right? Polyatomic, non-rigid, non-linear, and we have given vibrational mode as X. So every vibrational mode, there are 2 degree of freedom. So we can say, so for translation will be 3, rotation will be 3, and vibrational will be 2 times X. So how many degrees of freedom will be there? 3 plus 3 plus 2x. Similarly, okay, right. So in this case, right. So these are the degree of freedom that you have to remember. So in the question, you will be given the types of, you'll be given the names of the molecule. For example, hydrogen, oxygen, helium, or carbon dioxide. Those will be given, and based on their structure, you can figure out the degree of freedom. And in most of the cases, they will give you non-rigid. They will give you rigid diatomic molecule. right? Usually at low temperature, we have rigid molecule, but at high temperature, there will be vibrational degree of freedom. Got it? So do remember these values. Mono 3, rigid is 5, and dia with vibration will be 7. If we have polyatomic, rigid non-linear molecule, it will be 6. Similarly, if we have non-linear, non-rigid, polyatomic, in that case, vibrational mode will be given to you. You have to add vibrational degree of freedom in that. Now let us see the different types of question that can be asked from this.
Now let us see the question based on degree of freedom. So n moles of polyatomic gas which is having a degree of freedom 6 must be mixed with 2 moles of monatomic gas so that the mixture behaves as a diatomic. So if the mixture is behaving as a diatomic, and we have to find the value of n, if the mixture is behaving as a diatomic, then the degree, so I'm assuming rigid diatomic molecule, it will be 5, right? Degree of freedom. So when we have a mixture, you can use this formula. So it will be N1 F1 plus N2 F2 divided by N1 plus N2. That will be the effective degree of freedom or degree of freedom of the mixture, where N1 is the number of moles of the first gas, N2 is the number of moles for the second gas, F1 is the degree of freedom for the first gas, F2 is the degree of freedom for the second gas. So here N1 is given as capital N. For polyatomic gas, F1 is given as 6, N2 is given as 2, and F2, it's a monatomic gas. For monatomic, the degree of freedom is 3 divided by N plus 2, and the effective degree of freedom for the mixture will be 5. Now let us simplify this. 6n plus 6 is equals to 5n plus 10. So this will give us n is equals to 4. So option 3 is the right answer. So now let us see the question based on degree of freedom. Another question based on degree of freedom. So translational degree of freedom is Ft and the rotational degree of freedom is Fr for methane molecule. It's a polyatomic molecule. So methane is having 3 translational degree of freedom and 3 rotational degree of freedom, because it can be rotated about any three axes x, y, z, and it will be having a non-zero rotational kinetic energy. So we can say option 2 is the right answer.
Now let us see this again, a very straightforward question. Whatever we have studied, it is based on those concepts. Pause the video, try to solve this question. Right. So in list 1, we have given degree of freedoms, right? So A is given as 3 translational degree of freedom, B is 3 translational 2 rotational degree of freedom, C is 3 translational 2 rotational 1 vibrational degree of freedom, D is 3 translational 3 rotational and more than 1 vibrational degree of freedom. Okay, right. So if you talk about monoatomic gas, we know that monoatomic gas has 3 translational degree of freedom. Polyatomic gas, okay, let us say rigid diatomic. Rigid diatomic has 5, 3 plus 2. Non-rigid diatomic, it will be having 5 plus 2, right? 7. So can we see? So A corresponds to 1, right? 3 plus 2. So B corresponds to 3. So usually in match the columns, if you are able to figure out some of the values, some of the say A and B, if you are able to find out A and B, you will definitely get the answer. So in this particular case, A is 1. A corresponds to 1. So option 1 and option 2 is eliminated. So we're left with option 3 and 4. Now check for B. So B is 3. So option 3 is the right answer. So you can use elimination in match the columns. So option 3 is the right answer. So again, we can say for D, it will be 2 polyatomic gas, right? And for C, it will be 4 non-rigid diatomic gas. Okay, now let us see the next question. Again, pause the video and try to solve this question. Right, so the polyatomic gas has 24 vibrational modes. What is the value of gamma? Okay, right, so gamma, this gamma value we'll study in thermodynamics one shot. So let me give you what is gamma. Gamma in terms of degree of freedom is 1 plus 2 by F. Okay, we'll see this formula, right, in one shot of thermodynamics. Now, vibrational mode is given. It's a polyatomic ideal gas. So polyatomic, it will be 3 plus 3, translational, rotational, and then there are 24 vibrational modes. So you can say 24 times 2. So this is the degree of freedom. So it will be 6 plus 48. So F comes out to be 54. So 1 plus 2 by 54. So this will be 28 by 27. Can you see it is quite close to 1? So it is nearly equals to 1.03. So option 1 is the right answer. So the next concept is law of equipartition of energy. So according to this law, the energy associated with each degree of freedom is 1 by 2 kT. So if you remember, we have seen the average kinetic energy is 3 by 2 kBT, right? So we have seen this formula. And for a monatomic gas molecule, it has 3 degree of freedom. So we can say 1/3 of this, so half kT will go to the first degree of freedom, and then half kT will go to the second, and half kT will go to the third degree of freedom. So we can say for different degree of freedom, we'll be having the same energy, right? So if the degree of freedom of a molecule is F, if it is F, in that case, the total energy associated with each molecule will be F times half kT. Is it clear? Half kT is the energy associated with 1 degree of freedom. So if we have, say, if the degree of freedom is F, in that case, it will become F by 2 kT. I hope it is clear. Now, if we have n moles, so in case of n moles, the gas energy associated with each degree of freedom will be 1 by 2 nRT, right? 1 by 2 nRT, and for n moles, it will be F by 2 nRT. So just remember this formula, F by 2 nRT. So if we have n moles of a gas, then the total energy of the gas is nothing but F by 2 nRT. And this total energy is nothing but the internal energy of the gas, because potential energy is 0 in case of gas. So potential energy is 0. So we can say internal energy is nothing but the total energy of the gas, which is F by 2 nRT. So do remember this formula. Now we'll discuss problems based on the same concept, U equals to F by 2 nRT. Now if you want to find the change in internal energy, that is delta U, it will be nothing but half F N R delta T. Okay, do remember these formulas. Now let us see the types of question which were asked in JEE Mains. So it was asked in 2023. Pause the video, try to solve this question on your own. Yeah. A gas mixture consists of 2 moles of oxygen and 4 moles of neon at temperature T. Neglecting all vibrational modes, the total energy of the system will be total energy. So what is the internal energy of oxygen? It will be again F by 2 nRT. So what is F? Oxygen is a diatomic molecule, and if nothing is given in the question, we'll consider a rigid diatomic molecule. So in rigid diatomic molecule, F value is 5 that we have studied. So it will be 5 by 2 N. N is given as 2. So N is 2 RT. So this will be 5 RT, right? Now the internal energy of neon will be again F by 2 nRT. Now it's a neon is a monatomic molecule, so we can say it will be 3, right? 3 by 2. Number of moles is 4 RT, so it will be 6 RT. Now simply add these two values, it will come out to be 11 RT. So option 4 is the right answer. Right, so now let us see this question. It was asked in 2022. The total internal energy of 2 moles of monatomic ideal gas at temperature 300 Kelvin will be. So we have to find the energy in joules, and we have to consider R value as 8.31. It's a integer type question. Now pause the video, try to solve this question on your own. Yes, so we know that internal energy is given as F by 2 nRT. F for a monatomic gas is 3, N is given as 2, R value is 8.31, and temperature is given as 300. So it comes out to be 831 times 9. Is it clear? 831 times 9. So which will be 9. This will be 7479 joules is the answer. Got it? So that is the answer. Now let us see another question. Again, it was asked in 2022. 7 moles of certain monatomic ideal gas undergoes a temperature increase of 40 Kelvin at constant pressure. So we are increasing the temperature by 40 Kelvin at a constant pressure. The increase in the internal energy of the gas in this process. Now increase is given by F by 2 and R delta T. Now F is given as 7. Sorry, N is given as 7 and it's a monatomic gas. So in monatomic gas, F is 3. So 3 by 2. N is 7. R is 8.3. It is given in the question. And increase in temperature is 40. Got it? So it comes out to be, this is 20. So we can say 42 times 83. So can you see it will be close to 3400. So it will be close to 3400. So 3486. So option B is the right answer. Right. So let us see the next question. So what will be the average value of energy along 1 degree of freedom for an ideal gas in a thermal equilibrium at temperature T? Average value of energy along 1 degree of freedom. So I told you, like, for every degree of freedom, the energy associated is half kT. So option 1 is the right answer. Yes, let us see the next question. A flask contains hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio 2:1 by mass at temperature 27 degree Celsius. The ratio of average kinetic energy per molecule of hydrogen and oxygen. Average kinetic energy at low temperature, say here we have 27 degree. So average kinetic energy of hydrogen will be same as average kinetic energy of oxygen at same temperature. Same low temperature, right? So for example, room temperature. So it will be same. So option 2 is the right answer. Now let us see the next concept. It is known as mean free path. Okay, so what is free path? Suppose there is a gas molecule. It is moving randomly. So it undergoes a collision here. Then it will change its path. Then it undergoes another collision here. Then changes its path. Undergoes another collision here. Again changes its path. Undergoes another collision here. Then moves in this direction. So then the next collision will be here. So we can say this is lambda 1, this is lambda 2 path, this is lambda 3, this is lambda 4, lambda 5. So if I add up all these lambdas and take the average, right? If I take the average of all these paths, it is known as mean free path. So what is free path? Free path is the distance traveled between successive collision by the gas molecule. So mean free path is the average distance traveled between successive collision. And this is the formula that you have to remember. 1 upon root 2 pi d square n, where d is diameter of molecule and small n is number of molecules per unit volume. Number of molecules per unit volume. And this n can also be written as P upon kBT by using ideal gas equation. So if we substitute this value of n in this equation, we will get this formula. So kT upon root 2 pi d square P. So do remember this. And suppose if I want to find the average relaxation time. So what is average relaxation time? The distance or the time interval between successive collision. Average relaxation time. Average relaxation time. Now this average relaxation time is mean free path divided by average velocity of gas molecule. So we'll do in the later part the average velocity of a gas molecule, and that so average velocity is given by this formula root of 8 by pi RT by m naught, right? So for example, in case of a root mean squared speed, the formula was root 3 RT by m naught. Here it is 8 by pi root 8 by pi RT by m naught. We'll do this in the later part of this video. And lambda is 1 upon root 2 pi d square n. Got it? Now, this is the average relaxation time. So if we want to find the collision frequency, so collision frequency, let me call it as F. So that will be nothing but the average of average relaxation time. So usually we denote average relaxation time with tau. So it will be 1 by tau. So I can say it will be root 8 by pi RT by M naught divided by 1 upon root 2 pi d square n. Again, in from this section, you will get questions based on proportionality. Suppose if we increase the diameter, or we increase the number density, or we change the temperature, what would happen to the mean free path? What would happen to the average relaxation time? What would happen to the collision frequency? Now let us see the type of questions which were asked in JEE Main.
Now, what is collision frequency? It is defined as the average velocity divided by the mean free path. Okay, so that is the formula. So if the collision frequency of hydrogen molecule is in a closed chamber is 27 degree is Z, then the collision frequency of the same system at 120 degrees Celsius. Okay, right. So to find the collision frequency, we should know what is what is V average and what is the free path, mean free path. So lambda, which is mean free path, is given as 1 upon root 2 pi square, sorry, root 2 pi d square times n, where n is the number density. Let me correct this. Where n is number density or number of molecules per unit volume, and d is the diameter of the molecule. Diameter of the molecule, right? And we have to find the collision frequency. Let me call this as F. So we can say lambda depends upon diameter, it depends upon the number density. So as you change the temperature, the number density doesn't change. So we can say the lambda will not change. So lambda will be constant. So this will be constant. But the average velocity for the gas molecule is directly proportional to the square root of temperature, right? And for a given gas. So we can say the collision frequency will be directly proportional to the square root of temperature. So we can say Z prime upon Z will be root of T prime upon T, and T prime in this case is 127 degree, which is 400 Kelvin, and T is 27 degree, which is 300 Kelvin. So Z prime will be Z times 2 by root 3. So option 2 is the right answer. Now let us see the next question. If n is the number density, d is the diameter of the molecule, then the average distance covered by the molecule between the two successive collisions, which is known as the free path. Okay, they are asking directly from the formula. So option 3 is the right answer. 1 upon root 2 n pi d square. Now let's see one more question. So we have statement 1, the mean free path of gas molecule is inversely proportional to the square of the molecular diameter. So that is correct, because mean free path is 1 upon root 2 times pi d square n, where d is the diameter of the gas molecule. And the average kinetic energy of a gas molecule is directly proportional to the temperature. This is also correct. The average kinetic energy will be given as 3 by 2 kBT. So both the statements are correct. So option 3 is the right answer.
Now, the number of air molecules per centimeter cube increased from 3 into 10 raised per 19 to 12 into 10 raised per 19. Okay, so number of molecules per centimeter cube. So that is nothing but the number density, the n value in this formula, right? This n from 3 into 10 raised per 19 to 12 into 10 raised per 19. The ratio of collision frequency of air molecule before and after the increase in number. Can you see this frequency? It is so if I take this this root 2 pi d square, so it is this n will come in the numerator. Rest of the things will remain same, right? Because we are only changing the n value. So we can say frequency is directly proportional to n. Frequency is directly proportional to n. So the ratio of collision frequency of the air molecule before and after, so F1 by F2 will be n1 by n2. And what is n1? It is 3 into 10 raised per 19, and n2 is 12 into 10 raised per 19. So it will be 1 by 4, which is nothing but 0.25. So option 2 is the right answer. Now let us see another question. The mean free path of a molecule, so mean free path is again lambda, of a certain gas at standard temperature and pressure is 1500 D. So at standard temperature and pressure, the temperature is 273 Kelvin and pressure is 10 raised per 5 Pascal, is 1500 D. So lambda 1 is given as 1500 D, where D is the diameter of the gas molecule while maintaining the standard pressure. Mean free path of the molecule at 373 Kelvin. Now we are changing the temperature, keeping the pressure constant. So we are going to use this formula. So mean free path is K bt upon root 2 pi d square times P. So let us see what factors are constant. So this root 2 pi, even D is also constant, right? Pressure is also constant. Only temperature is changing. Only temperature is changing. So we can say all these things are constant. So we can say lambda is directly proportional to temperature. So if I want to find the mean free path at new temperature, so it will be lambda 2 by lambda 1 equals to T2 by T1. So lambda 2 will be 1500 D times T2, which is 373 divided by 273. So right, so this will be close to 1.273, 1.3. Okay, right. So this will be close to 2000. So if you look at the option from this result, we can say it will increase, right? So it can't be option 1, it can't be option 3, it can't be option 4. So the right answer will be option 2. So no need to do any calculation in this question. We can do this question even by elimination. So option 2 is the right answer. Right. So now let us see another question. According to kinetic theory of gases, motion of gas molecule freezes at 0 degree Celsius. So there are 4 options and we have to figure out which of these options are, these statements are correct. The motion of gas molecule freezes at 0 Kelvin. Okay, right. So what happens if you decrease the temperature to 0 degree Celsius? 0 degree Celsius, right? It is not 0 Kelvin. The motion of gas molecule freezes at 0 degree Celsius. So this option is incorrect. Now mean free path of gas molecule decreases if the density of molecule is increased. So they're talking about N, right? If N is increased, we know that lambda is inversely proportional to N because the formula is lambda equals to 1 upon root 2 pi d square N. It is inversely proportional to N. So as N is increased, lambda should decrease, right? So option B is statement B is correct. Now the mean free path of gas molecule increases if the temperature is increased, keeping pressure constant. Now we know this formula, it will be Kt upon root 2 pi d square P. Now pressure is constant. So we're keeping pressure constant. The mean free path of the molecule increases if temperature is increased. If temperature is increased, lambda will also increase. Option B, option statement C is also correct. Average kinetic energy per molecule per degree of freedom is 3 by 2 kBT. By law of equipartition of energy, we know that this is not 3 by 2 kBT, it is 1 by 2 kBT. So D of statement is again incorrect. Now, so B and C are the correct statements. So option B is the right answer. Right. So this question was asked in 2021. So calculate the value of mean free path for oxygen molecule at temperature 27 degrees Celsius and pressure 10 raised per 5 Pascal. Assume that molecule diameter is 0.3 nanometer and the gas is ideal. Again, direct application of the formula. So we can use KBT upon root 2 pi d square P. We can use this formula. So K is 1.38 into 10 raised per minus 23. Temperature is given as 27. So 27, we have to convert this into Kelvin. So it will be 300 Kelvin divided by root 2 pi. And D is 0.3 nanometer. So I can write this as 3 into 10 raised to power minus 10 meters, right? And the square of that. Pressure is given as 1.01 into 10 raised to power 5. So what we can do, let us separate out all the exponent terms. So 1.38 times 300 divided by root 2 pi, this will be 9 times 1.01. Now, so it will be 10 raised to power minus 23 plus 20 minus 5. Okay, so the numerator will become 138 and this will be 3. So 3 root 2 pi times 1.01 into 10 raised to power minus 8. Now we have to simplify this, right? So when we simplify this, we will get around 102 into 10 raised to power minus 9 meters, right? So option 4 is the right answer. Right, so this is the last concept that I want to discuss, and it is the Maxwell distribution law. So what Maxwell does, he suppose if we have a gas enclosed in a vessel, now in that vessel different molecules will be having different velocities. Some will be moving with a bit slow velocity, low velocity, some will be moving with a very high velocity, right? So if we plot the velocities of different molecules, so on the y-axis, we have dn by dv, where dn by dv is the number of molecules per unit speed interval. So what does it mean? So if I take on the x-axis we have speed, here we have speed. So let us say here speed is v, and at this particular point the speed is v plus dv. Now for this interval, the value is, so this is dn by dv, right? Okay, now so this is dv, can we say that? So what is the area of this shaded region? I can consider this just like a strip. It is just like a strip. So its area will be dn by dv times dv. So which comes out to be nothing but dn. Now if I add up the areas of all these strips, it will give us nothing but the integral dn. So area under the curve gives number of molecules of the gas. So do remember this, in Maxwell's distribution law, the area under the curve is the total number of molecule enclosed in a vessel. And the Maxwell distribution law, it is not exactly given in the syllabus, but there are questions in past, there were questions from this section. Here Maxwell has defined 3 important speeds that can be possessed by the molecule. One is known as the most probable speed. And what is most probable speed? It is the speed possessed by a maximum number of molecules. And we can find this speed by taking, it will be the speed at the peak, right? So at this point, we have the maximum value of dn by dv. So this is Vp. So if you look at the formula, it will be root of 2 RT by M naught. In VRMS, it was root 3 RT by M naught. Here it is root 2 RT by M naught. And we can also write RT by M naught as KBT by small m, where small m is the mass of one molecule. Now the second speed is average speed. Now this value is V average. Now what is V average? It is root of 8 RT by pi M naught. So can you see the factor has changed? It is root 8 pi. So can we say this average speed is nothing but V1 plus V2 plus till Vn divided by n. So it is nothing but the mean of the speeds of all molecules. And the last important speed that we have to study is root mean squared speed. And you know this formula, it is root 3 RT by M naught. So here in RMS, the factor is root 3. In V average, it is root 8 by pi. In VP, it is root 2. So in order of, if I write this in increasing order, so we can say Vp is less than V average, and it is less than V RMS. So do remember this order and do remember these formulas. So you will discuss the question based on these formulas only in the subsequent section. So let us see this question. It came in 2022. The relation between root mean squared speed and the most probable speed for a molar mass m of oxygen gas molecule at a temperature 300 Kelvin. So we have to find the relation between RMS and the most probable speed for a molar mass m of oxygen gas at a temperature 300 Kelvin. Yes, so we know, we know what is RMS. VRMS is root of 3 RT by m naught, and most probable is nothing but root of 2 RT by m naught. Now the temperature is same, molar mass is same. So can you see, if I take the ratio VRMS to VP, it will be root of 3 by 2. So VRMS is root 3 by 2 times the VP. So option B is the right answer. Right, so pause the video and try to solve this question. So at 300 Kelvin, the RMS speed of oxygen molecule is root alpha plus 5 by alpha times to that of its average speed in the gas. So it's saying VRMS is root of alpha plus 5 by alpha times V average. Now we have to find the value of alpha. So let us put the values. Let us write down the formulas. So root RMS, so VRMS is root of 3 RT by m naught. It is equals to root of alpha plus 5 by alpha, and root V average is root of 8 by pi RT by m naught. So can you see this m naught and RT will get cancelled out. Now if we square this, we will get 3 alpha plus 5 by alpha 8, and pi in the question it is given, take it as 22 by 7. So 22 by 7. So it will be 4 and this will be 11. So we can say 33 alpha is equals to alpha plus 5 times 28. So 33 alpha minus 28 alpha is equals to 140. So 5 alpha is equals to 140. So alpha comes out to be 28. So option 2 is the right answer. Right. So let us move to the next question. So it came in 2021. Again, pause the video and try to solve this question. Yeah. So consider a simple sample of oxygen behaving like an ideal gas. At 300 Kelvin, the ratio of root mean squared velocity to the average velocity of the gas molecule would be. So same temperature, right? Very easy question, right? Because we know that root mean squared speed is root of 3 RT by m naught, and the average speed is root 8 by pi RT by m naught. Now if you take the ratio, it comes out to be what? It comes out to be V RMS upon V average will be root of 3 pi by 8, because RT by m naught will get eliminated. So option 3 is the right answer.
If you find videos of this series useful, so it is highly recommended for you to join PragBiz revision program. So in this program, we're going to cover 10 blocks in 10 weeks, and we'll give you a target of 1 chapter per day, and we'll be able to cover all relevant chapters by the first attempt of JEE Mains. And how you can join this revision program? By clicking on the link given in the description. And one more thing you can do, please drop a comment. Let us know what else we can do for you to make this series better. Thank you.